this, Trump in a navy suit, weaving on top of Tiananmen Gate. Below, rows of Chinese missiles roll past. Sounds like a meme, right? Too wild to be true. Well, maybe not. On China's side, they are surprisingly open to the idea. China's official response to the idea of Trump visiting the 9/3 parade. Deliberately vague, just enough room to keep everyone guessing.
上周国新办的这个记者会介绍 This press conference held by the State Council Information Office last week introduced the situation and arrangements for inviting foreign leaders to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory of the anti-Japanese war. What's your specific question? I currently have no information to provide.
And some of China's more geopolitically active politicians and scholars have been openly calling on Trump to attend the 9/3 parade.
我通过采访的方式提出一个建议。
The way I do interviews, make a suggestion. It's my personal suggestion. I said when we were preparing for the September 3rd military parade, the Chinese government, can you invite US President Trump to visit China? Also participate in this 93 military parade. Well, a few scholars also responded to my appeal later. Similar suggestions were also made.
Trump himself, he's borderline obsessed. He publicly scolded a Fox host for bashing China.
They hacked into our telecom system. They've been stealing intellectual property.
You don't
and
think
trust
we do
them
that
on
to
economics.
them? You don't think we do that to them? We do.
So
We do a lot of things.
that's the way the world works.
It's the way the world works. It's a nasty world.
He keeps repeating his favorite line, I have a good relationship with President Xi.
I'm getting along with President Xi very well. We speak often. And with all of that being said, and I understand what you're saying, but I think we're getting along with China very well.
He openly floated a written visit to Beijing, promised to bring dozens of CEOs along. Oh, and he hinted that the trip could happen right around September. The level of enthusiasm, honestly, you could play I Love Beijing Tiananmen as background music, and it would feel right. So today, let's break it all down. Trump and China's 9/3 military parade. How much of this is absurd and how much is actually possible? Trump watching the Chinese military parade sounds like an internet joke, right? But read between the lines, and you will see signals everywhere. Let's start with China's official response to the idea. When a journalist asked whether Trump might attend the 9/3 parade, the spokesperson from the Chinese Foreign Ministry replied, "We currently have no information to provide on that." Now, what does that really mean? Well, this is classic Chinese diplomatic language. Polished, strategic, and perfectly engineered to say nothing while saying everything. It's part of what I call China's magic sentence system. Let's review a few greatest hits.
China has maintained communication with Iran on the current situation. A few days ago,
We will maintain communication. Translation, talks failed, but let's not ghost each other. China expressed its serious position. Translation, we are angry, but we are not ready to flip the table yet. We have taken note of the remarks. Translation, we heard what you said. We don't like it, but we will deal with you later. Now the best recent example. Back in May, Trump told Time magazine that he had recently spoken with President Xi.
You said you spoke with President Xi. Have you spoken to him since the tariffs.
I don't want to comment on that, but I've spoken to him many times. Yeah.
And how did the Chinese government respond? As far as I know, the two leaders haven't spoken recently.
The two heads of state of China and the United States have not spoken on the phone recently. I would like to reiterate, the two sides have not consulted or negotiated on the tariff issue.
This innocent-sounding sentence hides three layers of ambiguity. First, as far as I know, perfect is kept hatch in case it turns out to be true. Second, recently. What's recent? A week ago, a quarter ago, very flexible. Third, haven't spoken. Doesn't mean no contact in future. In short, we heard your story, but we are not planning along. And just in case we want to change course later, we won't be trapped by today's words. Now, fast forward to current parade rumor. China again says, we have no information to provide on that, which doesn't mean has not invited, and definitely doesn't mean has not coming. It simply means anything is possible. Let's keep things interesting. They also added, we hope the US will move toward China. That phrase, move toward China, is another classic. It loosely translates to, we've noticed you are being weird. Please behave yourself before we say something less polite. And finally, the statement emphasized that the US should follow the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, which is a standard issue Chinese diplomacy speak. But the subtext is pretty clear. As long as you keep sectioning us, don't expect tea and cookies. So, why does this military parade matter? China's 9/3 parade commemorates the 80th anniversary of the victory in the War of Resistance against Japan and the global fight against fascism, also known as World War II. And if Trump really does show up on the viewing platform in Beijing, well, he's not just there for the spectacle. He could say he's honoring history. Let's rewind. In 1931, Japan invaded northeast China. That's when China's War of Resistance began. In 1941, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. The US joined the war. From that moment on, the US and China were officially allies in the Pacific. And the most heartwarming symbol of that alliance? The Flying Tigers. Back then, China had almost no planes and even fewer trained pilots. So a group of American volunteers pilots flew in, put on Chinese uniforms, drank hot tea, and literally flew into battle against Japanese bombers, side by side with Chinese forces. It was the most unexpectedly emotional US and China co-production in military history. Now fast forward today. Surviving Flying Tiger veterans have been formally invited to attend the 9/3 parade. So, if Trump shows up, he could totally spin it as, I'm not here to steal the spotlight, I'm here to honor our shared sacrifices. And honestly, that would play. What's more, let's talk about the present. Just this July, when Trump was proposing massive new tariffs on 14 different countries, what did the US quietly do? Eased import restrictions on Chinese goods, especially in solar panels, EV batteries, and medical equipment. Why? Because no matter what politicians say on stage, the supply chains don't lie. You can't run a modern economy without China. And if you try, guess what you will get? Exploding inflation, angry voters, and a phone call from Wall Street. So maybe, just maybe, Trump's thinking, why not come to Beijing, honor history, and close a few deals where I'm at it? Let's be honest. If Trump really wants to show up at Tiananmen, cool, but first, put out the fire in your own backyard. Here are 3 big obstacles. Level 1. American hawks will lose their minds. Picture this. Trump stands beside Xi and Chinese parade. The anti-China crowd in Washington, across both parties, doesn't care about nuance. They will call him Traitor Trump. In China, calling him Comrade Trump is just a meme, but in the US, that label hits hard. Remember, 2024 election season is a context of who's tougher on China. If Trump appears at a Chinese military parade, his opponents will have 30 seconds of attack at gold. Even Trump, who feels nothing, feels one thing: losing votes. Level 2. Businessman logic versus national security. Trump sees things differently. To him, parade, that's an investment conference. History, great backstory for a press release. Warming ties, perfect for the stock market. But even businessmen can't ignore geopolitics forever. If he's seen as undermining US strategy, it won't just be Democrats criticizing him. The Pentagon might start side-eyeing too. Level 3. No US president has ever done this. That's right. 0. Not Biden, not Obama, not even Bush. No American president has ever attended a Chinese military parade. Because that kind of photo op sends a message. We acknowledge your rise. In DC optics, that's not diplomacy, that's surrender. If Trump shows up, it's not just visiting Beijing, he's not just triggering his political enemies, he's rewriting America's global image in real time. Let's circle back to our big question. Could Trump actually appear at China 9/3 military parade? From a personality standpoint, absolutely. The man lives for this kind of spectacle. For Trump, it's a perfect storm, a dash of wartime nostalgia, a sprinkle of business opportunity, and a full course meal of media attention. From China's side, the door's not open, but it's definitely not locked. But from the US side, that's where things get tricky. You're needed to dodge the hawks, outplay the press, and walk a diplomatic tightrope in front of millions, or just to wave from a historical balcony. Now, over to you. Would you want to see Trump standing on Tiananmen Gate? Is he a long-lost wartime body or a political infiltrator in disguise? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Debate welcomed, popcorn optional. If you enjoy our specific, globally awkward political deep dives, like it, subscribe, and stick around. We will be back next time with another geopolitical plot twist you didn't see coming. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.